brand expert, talk radio guru Peter Thiele joining us. By the way, we're broadcasting live from the City Light Home for Women and Children, part of Miller's mission, benefiting our friends at the Boise Rescue Mission. Mr. Thiele, always a pleasure to have you on, sir.
Well, you're doing the right stuff being there with the Boise Rescue Mission. That's great work. You know, the one thing I can always count on you, Kevin Miller, is fashion advice. So,
my man.
I realize I need to update my T-shirt game. You know, the T-shirts that go under your dress shirt, you're supposed to look good. Is this, what's the look right now? Is it V-neck or crew neck? I don't know. Help me out.
Whatever you'd wear to a kickball tournament, as you know, that's my attire.
Yeah, I understand, but I understand, though, you're a man of great taste and great understanding of the world. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, some listener can help us out of KIDO. I would appreciate it. It would be very helpful.
Indeed. I have to ask you, though, and we've got a lot to talk about. Our great friend Peter Thiele joining us on KIDO Talk Radio. This guy, Governor Walz, you take a look at this guy Shapiro, and he plays for the other team, but you're talking about quick, efficient. How big of a bad call was it to go with Walz over Shapiro? And obviously, and again, not to lead the witness too much, but Shapiro had, I suppose, too many ambitions for Harris. But what would happen if Shapiro was actually on the ticket?
It would have guaranteed Pennsylvania. It probably also would have guaranteed Michigan. The problem with Tim Walz is that he is completely a buffoon. We're talking about a guy who, for whatever reason, runs around on stage and does this miscellaneous Radio City Music Hall showgirl kick. He likes doing a showgirl kick. I have never quite figured that out. I've spent some time on stage. I've been in front of groups. Kevin, you have as well. Have you ever been tempted to do a showgirl kick?
No. No, I haven't. If I could, I could.
I've avoided it. And I don't even think I've ever been tempted to. And perhaps maybe among our Democratic friends, maybe this is what they want from their vice presidents, a feller who can do a showgirl kick.
Yes, and you just go back to the brilliance of a guy like Shapiro and the buffoon Walz. Speaking of Shapiro, let's go to Harris. And you wanted to discuss on KIDO Talk Radio, Peter Thiele, the foreign influence on Kamala's campaign.
Yeah, it's Kamala. Make sure you pronounce that right. Otherwise, you know what, Kevin,
yes.
You're a racist. So last night, how Kamala's been getting these great crowds is that she's bringing out musical acts. Likely when we see the returns, she's been paying these people to come out because, it's not cheap for a musical act to show up with their equipment, get on planes, etc. They're not doing it for their health. Well, last night she was doing a big appearance with showgirl guy Tim Walz and brought out Mumford and Sons, who are terrific, by the way. I love Mumford and Sons. Well, the problem is they're British. They're not even Americans. Can't she even find an American musician who will perform for her? Beyonce. There was no dance party with Beyonce. I know lots of people who went in Houston, not because they liked Kamala Harris. They wanted to hear old Beyonce belt out a couple of her ditties.
Yeah, and then they were booing and the like. What'd you make of her speech on the ellipse?
The problem, I think, with her is that we're being served a product that is not authentic. She's not writing anything. She's not speaking from her heart. And because of this, she is a product just like Pop-Tarts. She's the Pop-Tart candidate. Again, you may not, is that, the other thing to look through, 2020, 2024, the Democrats said goodbye to democracy when they went in the back room and they said, yeah, Joe Biden's going to be our candidate. And everyone fell in line like little lemmings. And in 2024, Joe Biden bows out, and Kamala's there immediately. Everybody falls in line like little lemmings. Who's running that party? I mean, who is running it? It's obvious that the people are not, the voters are not. When you come to democracy, which they talk about, we're really not a democracy, but let's just give them let's give them a bone. Is that part of democracy? Is that people vote and say what their opinions are, and it's not just run by a few shadowy figures. And this White House for the last 4 years, anyone who thinks Joe Biden has been running this White House, you are on crack. Completely, utterly, who is running this place? It's being run by a shadowy government behind the scenes. Joe Biden has no control. Neither will Kamala Harris. She's a perfect candidate for what they want to do because she has no idea, and she's a blithering buffoon.
Our great friend Peter Thiele joining us, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. So we go to President Trump, and now he's a garbage man. Last week he was working at McDonald's. How powerful was that? How insightful was that? How brilliant was that?
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. So instead of deny, avoid, just do all that, all that stuff, he went and faced it. Tony Hinchcliffe, who did the Puerto Rico island joke at the Trump rally at Madison Square Garden. Are you familiar with him at all, Kevin?
No, I'm not, Peter. I'm not as cultured as you, as you've known from our years together.
Well, Tony Hinchcliffe does this thing called Kill Tony, where a bunch of aspiring comics get 60 seconds to impress him and his panel of fellow comedians. And this is big. It's the biggest thing on YouTube. The other thing about it is that, a few months ago, he sold out Madison Square Garden 2 nights in a row. So he's a huge Trump guy. Oh, he's a gay guy. Oh, he's a guy that, but he's absolutely all in on Trump, and he's an insult comic. Well, we love insult comics. Old people remember Don Rickles. You get the guy who does all the Roastmaster General for Comedy Central, and Jeff, now my mind went blank on his last name. Insult comics are the deal. You put Kill Tony up on stage, he's going to do insult comedy stuff. Now, obviously, the Trump people knew this was going to happen. Now, they didn't know what Tony was going to say because from everything I've been told, and from good sources, that you get on stage behind the mic at a Trump event, no one asks you what you're going to say. They don't want to know. They want you to go up and speak from your heart. So Kill Tony went out, and he became a part of the consciousness of greater U.S. of A. During the Tom Brady roast a few months back. And he just went and you can look that up on YouTube. He's a little crude, a little crass. Let's just say this is probably not for Latter-day Saints friends. Probably not something you want to play during family home night. But I will tell you, he is insanely funny, insanely over the top, and he has a huge, huge following. Where the Harris campaign's big problem has been getting men, especially younger men, to be excited. Well, if you watch that crowd, it's nothing but guys. And they are laughing and laughing, and he's ingenious and smart. It probably was an This is probably beneficial for both Trump and for Kill Tony. I mean, it's like a symbiotic win for everybody. The garbage truck stunt, holy crap. Whoever came up with that, whoever on the Trump team, and it may have been Trump himself, I don't know. I have a friend of mine who's really, he's like on just the edge of the inner circle of Trump world, and I'll text him today, and he'll tell me. But it's just brilliant. So people are getting ready to go vote. Have you voted, or do you have early voting in Idaho, Kevin?
We do. Mrs. Miller was at the polls for over an hour last night early voting. The great thing, Peter, as you know, about working these hours is you can go like 1 or 2 in the afternoon when the traffic is light. So I'll vote voting day.
Yeah, I do not like early voting. The only time I ever did it was when I was living in Texas, in San Antonio. I went and early voted in 2016, and I think it was because my former wife, there was something going on that we were not going to be overly available that day. So I went and did that, and by happenstance, the day before I got a call, and I had to fly immediately on that Tuesday to the West Coast to care for my dad. And that's the only time I've ever done it. I like going on. I love the feeling. I love being there. But the good news is Republican turnout is over the top. There's more Republicans are turning out in New Jersey for early voting. I mean, talk about nuts.
I would agree. Finally, your prediction.
I believe that Trump will win. He will pick up Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Arizona. I have a friend of mine that you may know, Kevin, that has been working early voting. He's been an observer for the last several days in Arizona. He goes, yeah, this is going Trump. It's Michigan and Wisconsin are, a little shaky. It could go either way. There's really no reason why Kamala shouldn't win those states, but I don't think she's going to win them both.
Well, we heard it here first from our great friend Peter Thiele. I also love about your new article in Barrett Media, why talent should work the room, but everybody should work the room. And unlike me, you're brilliant at working the room.
Yeah, I think, but yeah, I think it's just something you have to. You're doing an event or you're doing something, whether you're a business owner or whatever you do for a living, you have to go out of your way and make sure you don't get stuck in a bubble. And it's so easy for us to do. We automatically become members of our little tribes. All of a sudden we talk to 2-3 people, and it's a 2-hour event, and you're spending 90 minutes with those 2-3 people, instead of going around, introducing yourself, meeting people, and taking time out. And when you do these events, networking events, whatever it may be, you've got to go out and work that room.
Peter Thiele, if people want to get a hold of you, what can they do?
VoiceOverPeter.com.
VoiceOverPeter.com. Thank you, sir. We will talk to you next week.
Talk to you later, Kevin. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. VoiceOverPeter.com. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.